The radar station sat alone beyond the salt flats, a crooked concrete tower surrounded by nothing but wind and burned earth. It had one responsibility: track what moved across the sky. And one forbidden data field: Sector Null. No aircraft ever entered Sector Null. No satellites crossed it. No weather systems registered in its coordinates. It didn't exist. Yet every operator knew to avoid adjusting the calibration grid near it, because every time someone did, Sector Null appeared on the radar. I was replacing an overnight operator when the anomaly struck. The radar screen glitched briefly, swallowed by vertical scan lines. Then Sector Null lit up, a perfect black wedge carved into the usual green radiance. A silent region where echoes vanished mid-scan. Locate mode confirmed. No altitude, no velocity, no mass reading, but the return signature repeated every 3 seconds. Something was reflecting the signal. I attempted to reboot. Sector Null remained. Worse, the sector began to expand. Where it passed, aircraft blips vanished instantly, not crashing, not deviating, ceasing to register as if erased mid-air. But air traffic control reported no missing flights. I overlaid optical tracking, clear skies, empty air. And yet, the radar insisted something obstructed the scan path, something enormous. I enhanced the phase resolution filter. The black wedge fractured into thousands of overlapping shapes, translucent forms drifting in formation. No physical silhouettes, just distortions that bent radar beams sideways. Their movements followed no aerodynamic logic. They turned without banking. Stopped without slowing, rotated without shifting position. Shadows without bodies. The console chimed. Proximity warning. Sector Null wasn't expanding. It was moving toward the station. At precise walking speed. I pulled binoculars from the locker and climbed the observation deck. The sky was empty. Stars motionless. No aircraft lights. And yet, the air felt heavy. Pressure pressed into my ears. Wind passed through an invisible presence higher overhead, bending unnaturally around negative outlines. I followed the sensation across the sky, and I saw them, not shapes, but interruptions, like holes punched into the night, drifting silently forward. Patterns of distortion, where stars failed to appear. Thousands of airborne voids, moving in perfect silent cohesion. The radar voice alert activated. Contact imminent. The first distortion crossed directly above the tower. Immediately the lights dimmed. The radio fell silent. Even the wind ceased. Then came sound. Not roaring, not impact, whispering, a layered murmur rising from everywhere at once. Speech that wasn't voice, but arrangement of sound waves into intelligent chaos. Images forced into my thoughts. Vast floating forms stitched out of empty spatial intervals. Organisms not made of matter, but of absence. An intelligence network migrating not through space, but through observational gaps. They didn't need physical presence. They traveled where perception failed. Understanding shattered me. The radar had not detected objects. It had detected regions of missing reality. Places where existence itself thinned. And these entities moved by eroding matter into absence around themselves. They were eating the sky. The whispers unified. Observation acknowledged. The nearest void grew brighter, darker, closer. Pressure compressed my lungs. I fell to the radar chamber floor. The display zoomed automatically, right into the darkest core of Sector Null. Within it emerged a shape, for the first time, a vast branching void. Geometry too complex for Euclidean description. It wasn't biological. It was a configuration of unreality. An absence-filled organism. and it noticed me, observer anchored. Something pierced inward, not flesh but perception, fixing my consciousness into its observation grid like a living sensor array. I felt myself widening, losing edges, becoming a viewport. Reality's edges sharpened and stretched outward from me. I could feel the migration network flowing, countless void forms sliding across atmospheric layers, threading along invisible perceptual seams around the planet, moving from unseen space to unseen space. And all of it passed through me. In desperation, I slammed the emergency transmitter, sending blind broadcast pulses into the sky. Electromagnetic noise blasted outward, not to communicate, but to fill perceptual gaps with interference. Static storms erupted across the upper atmosphere. The void distortions began to jitter. The whispers fractured. Anchor destabilized. Pressure collapsed. The radar screens flared white. I blacked out. I woke at sunrise beside the radar tower. Sector Null had vanished. No radar errors remained. No reports of missing aircraft were filed. No anomalies logged. Official conclusion: minor electromagnetic malfunction. I resign the next day, but every clear night I look up and I see voids drifting where no stars shine. Invisible to telescopes, untraceable by instruments, only noticeable when your brain knows what to look for. A migrating absence consuming the unobserved sky. And sometimes, in the deepest moments between sleep and waking, I feel my mind widen again, as if something is reconnecting to its lost anchor. And the sound returns, a whisper stitched from silence itself: Sector Null will return.